If you ever want to watch the internet hold its breath, just say, Jeffrey Epstein. Because his story isn't just about crime. It's about how power can hide in plain sight, and still get invited to dinner. And at the center of it all was a private island that looked like paradise, and became a symbol of something much darker. This is the story of a man who built a world where secrets felt normal. Jeffrey Epstein was born in Brooklyn in 1953. Not into a dynasty. Not into old money. Just a kid who was bright and ambitious. He was good at math. And that mattered in the one place where talent can sometimes buy you a ticket inside. An elite private school in Manhattan. The Dalton School. Now, imagine being a young teacher there. Every day you watch the world's most connected families walk past you like it's normal. That kind of proximity does something to people. Some get intimidated. Some get inspired. And some start building a persona, one that sounds like it already belongs. Soon, Epstein left teaching and moved into finance. And this is where the story gets foggy. Because he presented himself as a high-level money manager. But his exact business and clients were never fully transparent to the public. He had a reputation for attaching himself to big rooms. And big institutions. Like Bear Stearns, early in his finance career. And once you've been near that kind of place, people assume you're important. Even if they can't quite explain why. Then came the lifestyle, the visible proof. A Manhattan townhouse that looked less like a home and more like a private museum. Florida properties. Travel. Invitations that made people feel selected. And in elite circles, being selected is basically a drug with a dress code. Then there was the island. Little St. James, in the US Virgin Islands. A place you don't accidentally end up. You go there because someone brought you there. And that detail matters, because prosecutors and survivors later described a pattern of recruitment, grooming, exploitation, and trafficking. Let's be careful here, this isn't entertainment. The allegations involve real victims and serious harm. So instead of graphic details, I'll tell you what the case was really about. Control. Secrecy. And power over people with fewer options. Now here's the question everyone asks, quietly, like it might summon something. Why did he do it? We can't crawl inside someone's brain and get a receipt. But prosecutors described a system built around exploitation and dominance. And people who build systems like that usually want one thing: to feel untouchable. The first major legal collapse came in Florida in the 2000s. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida to solicitation involving a minor. And the outcome shocked people because it didn't look like the kind of punishment most would expect. He served limited jail time and had extensive work release privileges. To many observers, it felt like a message. Not justice happened. But wealth can negotiate reality. And for years after that, he kept moving. Kept socializing. Kept acting like the consequences were for other people. Then came 2019. Federal prosecutors in New York arrested Epstein and charged him with sex trafficking and conspiracy. Suddenly, the story stopped being whispers and became a front page. Because a federal trial doesn't just ask what happened. It asks who helped. Who knew? And who looked away? Epstein was held at a federal jail in Manhattan, the Metropolitan Correctional Center. And then the story took its sharpest turn. In August 2019, Epstein was found dead in custody. The official ruling was suicide. But almost immediately, the internet did what it always does when the ending feels too convenient. It started writing its own finale. Here's why the theories caught fire. Reports described failures in supervision, confusion around surveillance footage, and the fact that a trial might have exposed a lot of powerful connections. So the internet offered 3 main storylines. Theory 1. He was murdered to protect other people. Theory 2. He didn't die at all, he escaped, or was swapped, or staged. And Theory 3, the simplest one, gross negligence was enough. Here's the honest truth. People want certainty. Because uncertainty is what predators thrive in. And when the story ends without a trial, it leaves a vacuum. The internet hates vacuums. Meanwhile, investigators searched properties connected to Epstein, including the island. One image became instantly famous, a striped building on a hill, often called the Temple. People stared at it and projected meaning onto it like it was a movie set. But the case wasn't about a spooky building. It was about alleged exploitation, trafficking, and the systems that enabled it. And that system didn't rely on one person. It relied on networks, recruitment, logistics, and protection, social, legal, and financial. One of the most prominent associates later prosecuted was Ghislaine Maxwell. She was later convicted in federal court for her role in recruiting and grooming underage girls for Epstein to abuse. But Epstein, the center of gravity, was gone. And that's why his story still feels like it's missing a final chapter. Now, zoom out for a second. This story begins in Brooklyn, climbs through elite doors, and ends in a federal jail. And the thread connecting it all is something older than Epstein. The idea that wealth can create a private reality, where rules become suggestions, and people become disposable. So when people ask, who was Jeffrey Epstein? The factual answer is, a convicted sex offender who was later federally charged with sex trafficking. But the emotional answer is, a case that exposed how the powerful can orbit danger, and call it networking. And that's why the theories won't die. Because when a story ends before the courtroom chapter, people feel robbed of the ending they needed. Not for gossip, but for accountability. If you made it through a story this heavy, thank you for staying present. Next time, we'll go into another mystery still unsettling, still human but with fewer private islands. Until then, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next story.